breaking news. As of today, February 1st, 2026, the tables have officially turned in the skies over Ukraine.
They really have.
We have confirmation that Ukraine's S-301 Camcopter, armed with Thales FZ275 rockets, has successfully hunted down a Russian missile-equipped drone.
The prey has become the predator, no question.
It's a massive shift.
It is. We're finally seeing a sustainable, automated answer to the aerial terror that has been, grinding down Europe's eastern border.
Before we dive in, if you want to stay ahead of the curve on these rapid developments, subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. I'm Alex, joining you with Aria in the latest podcast by Defense Report for a sharp, no-nonsense breakdown of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments.
And today we are covering the deployment of the Shahed Camcopter S-301.
And the FZ275 laser-guided rocket system. It's a new countermeasure to Russia's evolving drone threat.
But we should be careful not to think of this as just, another gadget review. This deep dive is really about survival economics.
That's a good way to put it.
We've pulled together manufacturer specs from Thales and Shahed alongside Ukrainian field intelligence to understand how Kyiv is trying to close the sky without going bankrupt.
Exactly. That is the goal. We're going to look past the headlines, get into the gritty mechanics of this new form of air warfare.
Right.
Because when I was reading through these files, three things really jumped out. First, this thing called the shotgun effect. Apparently, a rocket that costs less than a used car is doing the job of $1 million missile.
By turning into a cloud of 6,500 steel balls, it's brutal efficiency.
And we also have to talk about why that is so necessary. We have to discuss the Predator drone reality.
This is the scary part. The Russian Shaheds aren't just suicide drones anymore. Now they are hunting human pilots.
That part honestly gave me chills. And finally, we'll break down the picket line.
The autonomous shield.
How Ukraine is using AI and acoustic sensors to create this 24-hour shield that just sits in the sky and waits. So set the scene for us. It's February 2026. How did the air war get to this point?
To really get the significance of this S-301, you have to look at the evolution of what it's fighting. I mean, if you rewind to 2022 or 2023, the threat was the Shahed 136.
Wait, those are the flying mopeds, right? The ones that sounded like a lawnmower with a bad muffler?
Those are the ones, exactly. They were pretty crude, propeller-driven, doing about 180 kilometers per hour.
So slow.
Very slow. They were dangerous just because Russia could launch 50 at once, but technologically they were dumb. Flew to a coordinate, crashed. But leading up to now, in 2026, the threat morphed.
Okay.
We saw the Jiran 3, also known as the Shahed 238.
And that's the jet-powered version, right?
Yes, and that engine change is critical. Suddenly, you're not dealing with a slow-moving target. You're dealing with a jet pushing speeds of 350 to, 600 kilometers per hour?
That's a huge jump.
It cuts reaction time for air defense crews in half.
Yeah.
But the most disturbing trend, the one that really escalated things in late 2025, is that Russia started arming them.
This is the part that sounds like sci-fi horror. So these things aren't just one-way suicide missions anymore.
No.
They're actually fighting back.
It's worse than that. They're hunting. Intel reports from the front confirm these drones are now carrying R-60 missiles.
R-60s? Those are old Soviet air-to-air heat seekers.
Exactly. And we've also seen variants with Verba man-pads, shoulder-fired anti-aircraft missiles just strapped right to the fuselage.
Hold on, let's unpack that. You have a drone. It's programmed to hit a power plant, but on its way there, it's actively scanning the sky for Ukrainian interceptors.
Precisely. They're equipped with rear-view cameras and Chinese-made mesh modems, the Jinke Tech XK F358. They act as spotters. It's a trap.
It's a trap.
For a long time, the Ukrainian tactic was to send up a helicopter with a door gunner to shoot down the slow drones with a machine gun. It was cheap. It was effective.
But now, if that pilot flies close to shoot down the drone
sees him, locks on, and fires a missile back. The hunter becomes the hunted.
That changes everything. You can't risk a highly trained pilot and a multi-million-dollar helicopter to shoot down a disposable drone if that drone could blow you out of the sky.
It made that whole tactic obsolete overnight, and they tried other nasty tricks too. There were reports of infrared searchlights on Shaheds, meant to blast IR beams to blind the pilot's night vision.
Psychological warfare as much as kinetic.
Well, sources suggest it was less effective against modern thermal cameras, but the intent is clear. Kill the interceptor.
Okay, so the cheap solution, human gunners, is off the table.
Yeah.
Too dangerous. But why not just use the heavy hitters? We know Patriot missiles work,
They do.
so why not just blast them with those?
And that brings us to the economic war. This is the math of survival, and honestly, it's a math problem Russia was winning.
How so?
A single Patriot missile that can cost anywhere from $1 to $4 million. A NASAM missile is $250,000.
And a Shahed drone costs, what, maybe $35,000?
Maybe. Especially with Russia mass-producing them at the Alabuga facility.
Okay, I see the trap. If you shoot down every single $35,000 drone with a $1 million missile, you don't even need to lose territory to lose the war. You just go bankrupt.
You run out of missiles long before they run out of drones. It's completely unsustainable. Ukraine desperately needed a Tier 2 interceptor.
Something in the middle.
Right. They have Tier 1, the FPV drones, but those have short range, short battery life. They needed something that can stay up for a long time, carry real weapons, but doesn't cost a fortune.
Enter the hero tech of the day, the Shahed Camcopter S-301. Now, looking at the photos in the report, this is not what people think of when they hear drone.
Not at all. Far from it.
Uh-huh.
This is a VTOL vertical takeoff and landing unmanned helicopter. It's nearly 5 meters long.
So it's a substantial piece of aviation hardware.
It is. Imagine a standard helicopter, just, strip out the cockpit, the seats, the life support.
And because it's a helicopter, no runway needed.
Exactly. It can launch from a forest clearing, the deck of a small ship. But the killer feature here, the reason Ukraine chose this platform, is endurance.
I saw the spec sheet. It says 24 hours. Is that real?
Up to 24 hours with the surveillance payload. Now, if you load it up with missiles, it drops to about 6 hours.
Which is still a very long time.
It is. Compare that to a human pilot. An Apache pilot gets fatigued after 2, maybe 3 hours. Reaction times drop. This robot can loiter, fully alert for a quarter of a day.
It allows for persistent overwatch, like a security guard that never sleeps. But I have a question about logistics. Keeping a helicopter fleet flying requires fuel. Are they trekking in specialized high-octane avgas to the front? Because that sounds like a nightmare.
And that's the genius of the engineering. It uses a heavy fuel engine. It runs on JP5 or Jet A1.
Which is just standard kerosene.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
The same fuel used by tanks, by jets. It's much safer to transport than volatile gasoline, and it simplifies the supply chain immensely. You don't need a special fuel truck just for the drones.
And what about vision? The Ukrainian winter is famous for fog and low clouds.
It's equipped with high-res EOIR gimbals.
Okay, stop there. EOIR. Let's translate that.
Sorry, electro-optical and infrared. Basically, a really high-end zoom camera for the day and a thermal camera for the night. And the thermal is crucial.
Why is that?
Because smaller FPV drones often get grounded by fog. Their operators physically can't see. The S-301 sensors can cut right through that atmospheric soup.
Okay, so we have a robot helicopter that flies all day, drinks tank fuel, and sees through clouds. But what does it shoot? Because this is where the shotgun effect comes in. The report mentions the FI's FZ275.
This is the piece of the puzzle that flips the entire economic script. The FZ275 laser-guided rocket, the price tag is under $10,000 per unit.
So finally, the interceptor is cheaper than the target.
Finally.
We're shooting a $10,000 rocket at a $35,000 drone. That's a winning equation.
It is. And the guidance is semi-active laser. The rocket rides a laser beam painted by the helicopter.
Which is important because of flares.
Vital. Russian drones use hot bricks, flares, to distract heat-seeking missiles. But a laser-guided rocket, it ignores the heat. It just goes where the laser points.
But wait a minute. I'm thinking about the physics here. You're trying to hit a small drone moving at, 300 kilometers an hour with a rocket? That sounds incredibly difficult.
It does.
Like trying to hit a bullet with another bullet.
It would be nearly impossible if it were a standard impact rocket. But this is the aha moment. It uses the FZ275 warhead. It's a programmable airburst warhead. It never intends to hit the drone directly.
So it's a proximity fuse, it gets close, and then boom.
Exactly. It measures the distance and detonates just before impact. When it explodes, it releases approximately 6,500 small steel pellets.
6,500.
Imagine a sphere the size of a basketball court instantly filling with flying razor blades. It creates a kill zone about 25 meters in diameter.
And a Shahed is just fiberglass and plastic.
The wings, the propeller, they're fragile. You don't need to blow it up. You just need to fly the rocket into the same zip code, detonate, and the drone is shredded.
A flying shotgun.
Yeah.
That is a terrifying image.
It is efficient. And Thales Belgium is cranking these out. They're ramping up to 10,000 units a year by 2026. This isn't a prototype. This is industrial-scale warfare.
So we have the hardware. But having a helicopter and a rocket doesn't automatically mean you win. The sky is big. How do you actually catch a Shahed? You can't just fly around randomly.
No, that would be a waste of fuel. This is where the picket line strategy comes in, and this is all about data fusion. Ukraine uses a system called Delta.
Okay.
It pulls in data from radars, from spotters, and a network called VUC.
I remember reading about ZVUC. That's the network of microphones, right?
Huh?
Thousands of old cell phones listening for the engine noise.
Correct. It's acoustic triangulation. So, let's play out the scenario. Delta picks up a sound signature. A Shahed is incoming. The computer predicts the flight path.
And the S-301 isn't scrambling from the ground.
No, it's already in the air, loitering in a designated drone corridor deep behind the lines.
It's an ambush.
It's a trap waiting to be sprung. The S-301 vectors in. It uses those superior sensors to lock on from 7 kilometers away.
7 kilometers.
And remember those R-60 missiles on the Russian drones? Their max effective range is about 7 to 8 kilometers, but their seekers are old. The S-301 can snipe the Russian drone from the absolute edge of that envelope.
So it keeps the expensive robot helicopter out of the dogfight danger zone. It shoots from a distance.
Ideally, yes. It turns what could be a chaotic dogfight into a calculated execution.
But I have to play devil's advocate here. We talked about the new jet-powered Uran-3 drones. Those things are doing 600 kilometers an hour.
They are.
The S-301 is a helicopter. It tops out at around 220. That is a massive speed gap.
You've hit on the critical limitation. It's a simple physics problem.
If the S-301 is behind the jet drone, it can't catch it. It's like me trying to chase a Ferrari on a bicycle.
Exactly. Tail chasing is impossible. The S-301 has to rely on head-on intercepts. Think of it like a goalkeeper in soccer. The keeper isn't faster than the ball.
Right.
If he tries to run after the ball, once it's past him, he's useless. He has to position himself exactly where the ball is going to be.
That puts a massive amount of pressure on the radar operators and the Delta system if they calculate the path wrong.
The S-301 misses the intersect window, and the jet drone blows right past it. Once it's gone, it's gone.
So it's not a perfect shield, it's a leaky net.
No air defense is perfect. But that's why the S-301 is just one layer. For the fast movers that slip past, Ukraine is also using Tier 1 interceptors. The Sting drones.
The ones that look like racing drones.
Yeah.
Controlled with VR goggles.
Yes, but weaponized. We actually have reports of a Sting drone scoring a historic first kill against a jet Shahed recently. They are the sprint runners. The S-301 is the marathon runner.
So the S-301 thins the herd, and the little VR drones hunt down the leakers.
That's the idea.
It's a whole ecosystem. And looking at the numbers, the scale is hard to wrap my head around. The report says Ukraine plans to produce 7 million drones in 2026.
7 million. It's a number that sounds impossible until you realize the entire economy has mobilized for this.
That is staggering.
And it's important to frame this as a European success story. You have an Austrian drone from Schiebel, Belgian rockets from Thales, and Ukrainian software and battlefield integration.
A joint effort.
This system is effectively the model for the drone wall that is going to protect Europe's eastern border for the next decade.
It really highlights how quickly warfare is evolving. 2 years ago, we were analyzing tank maneuvers. Now we're talking about autonomous helicopter pickets fighting jet-powered suicide drones.
And that speed of evolution is the key takeaway. Ukraine isn't just defending itself, it's writing the textbook for the future of air defense. They've taken a desperate situation and turned it into a calculated, industrial-scale turkey shoot.
It's incredibly impressive, but honestly, it leaves me with a heavy thought about where this all goes.
It raises a massive question about the future of the Air Force, doesn't it?
It does.
If a $10,000 rocket on an autonomous helicopter can do the job of a fighter jet, are we witnessing the end of the era of manned air defense?
If I'm a fighter pilot looking at this data, I'm worried. Not about being shot down, but about becoming obsolete.
Exactly. And with Russia arming their drones with missiles, how long until we see the first fully autonomous dogfight between drone swarms over Europe? No humans involved, just algorithms.
That is a reality that is both fascinating and terrifying. We are watching history be rewritten in real time. You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex and Aria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry. Before you go, make sure you don't miss out on the next update. Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.